Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. The All-Star break is currently going on. NBA will resume regular season on Thursday. So the Ringer Bill Simmons website has their top 100 NBA player rankings. So as it mentions, throughout the regular season into offseason, our foursome of analysts, Rob Mahoney, J. Kyle Mann, Kevin O'Connor, and Michael Pina, will update this list based on recent results. So they updated it after the last set of games prior to the All-Star break. So I thought we could take a glance at their top 100. I'm not going to give my thoughts on each player. It would take too long, but I will give my thoughts on some and maybe mention some players who did not make the list. But let's get into it. So starting with the Joker, Nikola Jokic first and Giannis, the Greek Freak second. I think they're almost interchangeable on where you put them. I would give a slight edge to Giannis, but ever so slight. Third, Luka. Of course, Luka puts up otherworldly numbers. Steph Curry, 4. He's had the injury bug a lot this season. Will he be healthy in time for the postseason if the Warriors can even make it? Kevin Durant, 5. We'll see when he comes back from injury to make his debut with the Suns. Joel Embiid, 6. I feel like a lot of people might be a little bothered by that. And for me, I would personally put him over Curry and Durant. And possibly Luka. I feel like, I get Luka doesn't have all that much help. Now he's got Kyrie, although they're 0-2 together. But Embiid is just such a force at both ends. I think maybe he should be a little higher. Jason Tatum, 7th. LeBron James, 8th. So, when I saw this, I'm like, is that a little too high for LeBron? Yes, he puts up numbers that makes him deserving of the number 8, but if his play isn't as conducive to winning when he could have average teams and still give his team 50 plus wins, that hasn't been the case of late. But looking at the guys below him, so Kawhi, injury prone at number 9. SGA, oh man, is SGA awesome this season, and the Thunder are ahead of the Lakers in the standings. Devin Booker has been injured. Damian Lillard, another under 500 team, but so are the Lakers. So, I'm not sure I would put any of those guys over LeBron. Donovan Mitchell, probably not yet. Maybe Devin Booker, first team All-NBA last season. He's recently come back from injury. 14th, Ja Morant. You might think a little low. I might put him ahead of Donovan Mitchell, but not much higher than that. Zion Williamson, 15th. So 15 and 16, two super injury-prone players. Zion Williamson and Anthony Davis, if healthy, both are top 10 players. Anthony Davis, probably top 5. He was putting up MVP numbers prior to his previous injury. So, I think Zion's too high. I don't really have a problem where Anthony Davis is. And Zion's too high because, he's just not on the court. Jimmy Butler, 17th. Paul George, 18th. So he's 8 spots behind SGA. We know that they were traded for each other, but the Thunder also got a bunch of picks in that deal. Tyrese Halliburton, 19th. I think that might be a little too high. I get it. He's leading the league in assists. I would probably put James Harden ahead of him for now, and this is coming from someone who's not a huge James Harden fan. Pascal Siakam, 21st. I would put Jaylen Brown over him. I get Siakam maybe shows a little more playmaking, but Jaylen Brown has the Celtics at the top of the East. So we see another trade that looks fairly even. Halliburton was 19th. Sabonis is 23rd. Sabonis having a great season for the Kings as they look to end their long postseason drought. Kyrie Irving, 24th. Definitely a hard guy to rank. Bam Adebayo, 25th. That seems fair. Trae Young, 26th. You might think it's too low looking at his stats. I actually think it's a little too high, at least for this season. Yes, he's putting up huge numbers. Hasn't been efficient, and we know he's one of the worst defenders in the league. I would have De'Aaron Fox above him. Anthony Edwards probably above him as well. Anthony Edwards has definitely been playing well with Karl Anthony Towns out. Let's see what happens when Towns comes back. Darius Garland, 29th. That's an interesting spot for him. Don't really have a problem with it. Lauri Markkanen, 30th. Yeah, that the way he's playing this season, that is fair. DeMar DeRozan, 31st. Drew Holiday, 32nd. Julius Randle, 33rd. I am a Knicks fan. I would have Jalen Brunson over him. Jalen Brunson is just so much better in the clutch. And, Randall's game has transformed back to his 2020-2021 season, due in large part to having that point guard. Brandon Ingram, 34th, probably would be higher if he wasn't, riddled with injuries, especially this season. Jaren Jackson Jr., could be Defensive Player of the Year, even though he missed quite a bit of time to begin the season. Desmond Bane, 36. Karl Anthony Towns, 37th. Man, that does seem low. But, he wasn't able to fully integrate with Rudy Gobert. That'll be an interesting story to see once Towns is back from injury. Jarrett Allen, 38th. Evan Mobley, 39th. I'd probably put Mobley a little bit ahead of Jarrett Allen, although the Nets probably regret letting Jarrett Allen go. 40th, Jalen Brunson. I'm going to say that's too low. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but I believe he's got the second highest scoring average or second most points in 2023, only behind Dame Dalla. So I would have Brunson higher than 40th. Chris Middleton, 41st. Draymond Green, 42nd. I actually think that's too high. I mean, I get it. He's a future Hall of Famer. But, the Warriors are struggling this season at 500 much of the year. Jamal Murray, 43rd. The way he's been playing of late, he could definitely move up. Chris Paul, 44th. Started off the year not doing well, but has played better. Let's see how he does with Durant and CP3 and Devin Booker. LaMelo Ball, 45th. I think that's way too low. Yes, Charlotte is terrible. He missed the beginning of the season, but LaMelo Ball, I think, is a top 30 player in the league at least. Andrew Wiggins, 46th. Klay Thompson, 47th. That is a toss-up as to who the better player is right now. Rudy Gobert, 48th. Man, a hard guy to rank. Going in his Utah seasons, a lot of the times he was seen as a top 20, top 25 player. Just hasn't had that success with the Timberwolves yet. Mikal Bridges, 49th. This could prove to be too low. I don't expect many more 45-point nights like he did in the Nets last game. But, again, runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year last season. And on a Nets team without a superstar, he will get more of a scoring load than he did in Phoenix. OG, 50th. DeJounte Murray, 51st. The addition of him to the Hawks just hasn't necessarily paid dividends for the Hawks yet as they toil in play-in standings. Aaron Gordon, 52nd. Probably having his best season, and, the Joker definitely makes players around him better, and Aaron Gordon has definitely been successful. Jeremy Grant, a hard guy to rank, had such an interesting career, whether it's Denver being seen as defensive guy, same with OKC, then Detroit had to be their go-to guy. Bradley Beal, 54th. That's got to hurt Wizards fans knowing how much money they owe him, and I think that's kind of a fair spot. I may put him ahead of a few guys above him, but not too far up. Robert Williams, the third, 55th, great defensive player. I probably would have Brook Lopez a little higher than Williams, but it's close. Zach LaVine dropped to 57th. Just not a good defensive player. His scoring is down. KP6, definitely having a very good season for the Wizards, and I might argue he's their best player right now over Bradley Beal. 59th, Nick Claxton. Part of the reason why the Nets still might be competitive even without that superstar power. Nick Claxton has become a great defensive player and, takes high percentage shots. Miles Turner finally did sign an extension with the Pacers. Been part of trade rumors for seemingly the past, 5 seasons. And has stretched his game to the 3-point line. Anthony Simons, 61. I think that might be a little too high. I'd probably put Marcus Smart over him. Simons, of course, is the better scorer than Smart. Smart reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Michael Porter Jr., 63rd. Even though Denver's first in the West, he really hasn't put it all together yet after missing almost all of last season, although he's still shooting very accurately from three. Franz Wagner, 64th. Would you rank him ahead of Paolo, who's coming soon? 65, CJ McCollum, maybe a little higher, I think he should be, although he hasn't been accurate with his shot this season. Tyler Hero, 66, fair. Doesn't play much defense. Fred Van Vliet, 67, man, coming into the season, made the All-Star game last season, but again, another guy who has not shot the ball accurately. I would have Bogdanovich higher than 68th. Just such an accurate shooter. Unfortunately, is on a awful team. DeAndre Ayton, 69. He's a guy that you feel should be giving so much more than he is. There is Paolo Banchero at 70. Again, Franz Wagner probably does more. Banchero is the better scorer. Kevin Huerter, 71st. Probably wouldn't have sniffed the top 100 entering the season. I mean, it was always a good shooter with the Hawks, but a pivotal member of a Kings team that I believe is fourth in the West. Al Horford, 72nd. 36 years old, still going strong. Scotty Barnes, I might have a little higher, although him and the Raptors as a whole, I've kind of disappointed. Barnes really hasn't made that jump after his Rookie of the Year season. Malcolm Brogdon, I'd probably have higher. Key sixth man with the Boston Celtics. Kyle Kuzma's putting up numbers, but I think 75th is reasonable. Devin Vassell, Vassell's been hurt of late. And the Spurs are awful. Mike Conley, 77th, and one of the guys he was traded for didn't even make it. I'll talk about him at the end. Let's see if he becomes a better fit for the T-Wolves than D'Angelo Russell. Wendell Carter Jr., 78th. Kind of surprised he made it on here. Don't get me wrong, he's a very good player. The Magic are over 500 since they started like 5-20. I would probably put him a little lower. Keldon Johnson, is he an empty calories guy? He's putting up about 20 points a game, but on an awful Spurs team. Tyrese Maxey, man, I expect him to make another jump this season. It just hasn't happened. Josh Giddey just does it all. Imagine if he could unlock some accuracy from beyond the three-point line. Cade Cunningham, man, I really want to see this guy succeed, especially for Pistons fans. Of course, he's out for the rest of this season, but still just 21 years old. I expect him to move up. Spencer Dinwiddie, 83rd. I guess that's fair. Christian Wood, 84th. Some games that you wonder why the Mavericks aren't playing him that much. Luka Doncic doesn't have all that much help on offense. You think Wood could probably be a good tandem with him if they played more together. Clint Capella, 85th. I think he was a guy who was much higher previously. I don't know if I would even have him on the top 100, although he's still a stellar rebounder. Ivica Zubac, 86th. Yes, great defender. Alex Caruso, 87th. Whew. Very good player, very good defensive player. Rarely touches the ball on offense. I know he's got his kind of like cult following. I don't know if I'd have him top 100. Same with this guy, Kevon Looney. I get it, championship pedigree. Isn't asked to score much. There's centers that I'll name at the end that I think maybe should have been on over him. Derek White, have no problem with this. He's not going to put up huge numbers, but plays a key role on an excellent Celtics team. Norm Powell's been playing a lot better of late for the Clippers, looking like they're kind of their third banana behind Kawhi and PG. Jordan Clarkson, 91st. Yes, great scoring season, but not good on defense. Very streaky. Alperen Sengun, one of the better players on the Rockets. He's had some superb games. Tobias Harris, 93rd. Man, he's getting paid a lot of money. Borderline whether he should even be on here, but he still does have a role on a good Sixers team. Cam Johnson, 94th. Again, another net on this top 100. Again, could be every game where a different guy is their top scorer. RJ Barrett, 95th. Again, I'm a Knicks fan. Barrett is highly scrutinized by the Knicks fan base. Question as to whether he should be on here. I actually think there's a Nick who should be on over him. Nikola Vucevic, man, Bulls have just been disappointing. Vucevic doesn't provide much on the defensive end. Jakob Podol, 97th. Jaden McDaniels, 98th. Kind of surprising to see him on here, but he does play, a good defensive role. And he doesn't get a lot of touches, but Dylan Brooks really hasn't done much this season, at least on offense. And Nicholas Batum rounds it out. So there is the top 100 according to the Ringer. Some guys that are notable that I believe weren't mentioned. Two of the best offensive rebounders in the game. Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks, a guy I'd have on probably over RJ Barrett at the moment. And Steven Adams. I get both of them are currently injured, but, just give both of their teams so many second opportunities off of misses. Both play very good defense. I would have both of them probably on the top 100. How about a guy like John Collins? Man, how he has fallen. Just hard to find a role on the Hawks. I get D'Angelo Russell has his warts, but let's see how he does with the Lakers. I think maybe he should have been on the top 100. Ben Simmons, no, I'm just kidding, but Ben Simmons didn't make the top 100. And can a guy like Russell Westbrook, who is now going to be on the Clippers, play a large enough role to find his way back on this top 100? Former MVP, of course. But let me know your thoughts on the Ringer's top 100 NBA players. Is there anyone else that I didn't mention that are you surprised did not make the list? Who's too high? Who's too low? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications.